Good morning students. Today we are going to start our 7th class first lesson about science is nothing but food components. So in this lesson you are going to know about the components of food, balanced diet, lack of nutrients and excessive intake of food. These are the main things which we are going to discuss in this chapter of our first lesson. So you know that you may have tasted different varieties of food. What does the food contains? So each and every variety of food contains different types of components in that. What are those components are called? Components of food are nothing but the nutrients which are to be defined with the different kinds of nutrient measures. Those are nothing but carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, fats along with fiber and minerals. So what do these nutrients make our food? So these all the nutrients combine in adequate amounts to make it a balanced diet. So what happens if we take all these nutrients in our food? So that is the main thing what we have to understand. So because one of the important thing in the lesson we have to discuss is nothing but what happens if nutrients are not there in our food sufficiently. So let us discuss about each and every nutrient in a descriptive manner. So let us take carbohydrates first. What does this carbohydrates do to our body? So carbohydrates are nothing but the nutrient which gives a lot of amount of energy to our body. So what kind of food is provided with carbohydrates? So the food which is rich in carbohydrates is nothing but the food which we take as lunch as well as breakfast. So which contains most amount of carbohydrates. So where do we get this kind of carbohydrates? So in some vegetables, in rice and as well as the breakfast like idli, pongal and so on. So we have already discussed that what does the carbohydrates give to us? They provide energy to our body. Why do we need energy? What happens if we do not take the food which doesn't contain carbohydrates? Because if we do not take carbohydrates, we lack energy. That means our body did not get energy to do our regular duties. So to maintain our body, to make it regularize in our daily duties, we need to take carbohydrates. Then coming to the next nutrient which is nothing but proteins. What does these proteins do to us? They are said to be the bodybuilders. Why they are said to be the bodybuilding nutrients? What does these proteins do to us? They help in the growth of our body. So it makes us to maintain a perfect growth in our body parts. As if we have already discussed that the growth which is nothing but both physical as well as the mental growth. So physical fitness. Are you in the same size whenever you are in childhood? No. So that gives us by taking a protein as food. So proteins gives us a general growth and an extraordinary functioning to our body. So what is the food that contains proteins? So food is obtained. The food that gives proteins to us is nothing but the food which is with pulses as well as grains. So these two gives us more proteins to our body. Then what about the vitamins? What are these vitamins playing an important role in our food? So vitamins are the protective food. So what makes us to our body? They maintain along all these vitamins. So we know that we have been come across different kinds of vitamins in our previous class as in vitamin A, vitamin B12 and so on. So let us see about what does these vitamins do to our body. So these vitamins, they help us in different kinds of functionings and as well as the growth of our body. So what does this vitamin A do to us? It helps in eyesight as well as our skin glow. So vitamin B12, it helps in almost all the systems like our heart, digestive system and so on. Then what about this vitamin C? It helps in making our blood purification and as well as it's good for bone strength. Along with that, vitamin D, it helps in bone building. So it makes our bones strong. So as if we have already known that, we have studied in our previous class about that. If there is a vitamin deficiency of D, so it causes the diseases which are related to bones. So if there is a lack of these nutrients, what makes our body? So if there are no sufficient nutrients to our body, we used to face many kind of deficiency diseases. Then coming to the fats. What does these fats do to us? Fats are nothing but the nutrients which are more than carbohydrates that produce instant energy to our body. So by taking fats, our body gets instant energy. What kind of food contains fats? So the fats are well flushed with sweets and different kinds of milk items. So we may get instant energy by taking this kind of food. So what about the fiber? So what is this fiber actually do to our body? It plays an important role in our food because the food which do not contain fiber does not get digested properly. Fiber is one of the carbohydrate which makes our food to get digest properly. So we used to add different kinds of vegetables like ridge gourd and so on. So ridge gourd, which is nothing but angler gourd, so different bindi and so on, drumstick. So these are all the vegetables which contain fiber in them. What does this fiber do to our body? Fiber makes our digestion properly and it helps in avoiding constipation problem. So fiber helps in a good digestion. So that is the main thing what the fiber plays an important role in that. So coming to the last and most nutrient, which is nothing but minerals. So minerals are the white things which play an important role in functioning of our body. What type of functions our body will do? So our body contains different kinds of systems like heart, digestive system, nervous system and almost all the systems. So the body functioning is mainly depending upon minerals. So coming to this nutrients, again the nutrients has been divided into two types which are nothing but macro and micro. So what are macronutrients and what are micronutrients? The nutrients which a body needs in more amounts are said to be macronutrients. So what are those in more amounts? Whatever body needs actually in more of all this, yes, it's nothing but energy. So which type of nutrients are producing energy to us or providing energy to us? Those are nothing but carbohydrates and fats. So what are the nutrients we need in less quantity? So almost all the functions of our body, they must regulate our body. So these functioning of body's needs, what are those? Protection and functioning. What are those? Nothing but proteins, vitamins and minerals. So these are said to be micronutrients. Our body needs these type of nutrients in less amounts. So these are to be defined as micro. Whereas the body which needs energy by getting of these nutrients which are nothing but carbohydrates and fats. So these are to be defined as macronutrients in more amounts. So this is the thing which we have discussed about nutrients. So let us again revise about the nutrients. The components are nothing but the food that contains the nutrients of different types, nothing but carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, fats, fibers, minerals. All these amounts of nutrients, that is sufficient amount of nutrients that are present in food, is said to be balanced diet. So it is said to be a balanced diet. Is it clear, children? So next, coming to that, what does these nutrients do to our body? That is nothing but carbohydrates provide energy to us, proteins help in bodybuilding, whereas vitamins are protective food, fats are nothing but which produce instant energy to us, and fibers help in avoiding constipation, and finally minerals are which help in functioning of our body. So again, nutrients are divided into two types, which are nothing but macronutrients, micronutrients. So what are macronutrients? The nutrients which our body requires in more amounts are said to be macronutrients. What are those? Carbohydrates and fats. Then what about micronutrients? Those are the nutrients which are required by our body in less amounts are said to be proteins, vitamins and minerals as micronutrients. So we have discussed that what does these nutrients present in different kinds of functions. So they give energy to us by taking different kinds of food, and these are present in, proteins are present in pulses, grains, whereas different kinds of vitamins helps in different functions of our body, whereas coming to that instant energy, it is produced with the different varieties of food items. And finally coming to that, constipation is to be avoided by taking fibrous food. And the last thing is minerals, which helps in functioning of our body parts. And finally in this session, we are going to close with excessive intake of food and lack of nutrients. What happens? I am going to give you a question. I have not taken food for 4 to 3 days, 3 to 4 days. What happens to our body? Does the body functions as if we were taking food before? We can do our regular duties, how we were performing our activities as if we didn't take food like before and after. Is it possible to do our duties without food for 2 to 3 days? So imagine that you have not had your food for 5 more days. Is it possible to stand? Think about it. I say no, because our body needs energy to do all our regular duties. So lack of nutrients causes many kinds of effects to our body. What are those effects? Because of lack of nutrients. So any nutrient is missing from this balanced diet. So then it is said to be malnutrition. What it is called as? Malnutrition. Because any single nutrient is missing from this, it is considered as malnutrition. What does this malnutrition leads to? It leads to different kinds of deficiency diseases. Nowadays, you can see that many children are facing their face with the different kinds of white scars on their face. Can you give what is the reason the children are getting scars on their face? So it's nothing but a disease which is affected by the deficiency of a nutrient. So it is to be stated by the doctor to take nutritious food regularly and maintain your healthy body. So do you agree that children? So we have to take the food which contains all the nutrients? Yes, I do. Because the food gives us, we have already discussed in our previous class, why do we take food? We have already stated that food gives us energy, it makes us to stay healthy as well as fit. So what type of food makes us to stay fit? I say that it should be a balanced diet. Do you say yes? Yes. So because of the lack of nutrients, our body used to face different kinds of problems. So if there is a lack of vitamins, the body undergoes loss of eyesight, loss of different kinds of things, loss of blood, loss of eyesight, loss of skin glow. All these kinds of things causes many kinds of diseases. So these are said to be deficiency diseases. So the food in less causes different kinds of diseases. What about the excessive intake of food as well? So the food which we take in less causes deficiency, whereas in excess causes obesity. What is this obesity called? The food which we intake in more amounts do not get digested properly and it gets stuck there with a different kinds of undigested fat inside the body, and finally it is stated as obese, a state called as obese, and the disease is said to be obesity. What happens in this situation? At this situation, the body becomes lazy. We cannot perform our daily activities. The body becomes very fatigued and you are unable to move from here to there. Body becomes very lazy, and the person who is suffering from obesity used to get often the diseases which affects the heart also. So we have to face many kinds of problems if any less amount of nutrients are there in our food and more amount of intake is happened to our food also. So finally, coming to the conclusion, we are going to have a simple test of carbohydrates, fats. How can you test the carbohydrates? At home. So it's easy. So let us take 2 or 3 particles of cooked rice. Like crush them in between your 2 fingers. It shows that the stickiness of the substance, it tells that the food contains carbohydrates. So another test of fats. What type of food contains fats? So you can identify the food that contains fats very easily. How is it possible? So let us take 2 or 3 groundnuts in a paper. Crush it or pound it with a rolling pin. So that you will come to see on the paper becomes translucent with a oily substance. So that it tells that the groundnuts contain fats. So these are the small tests which you can say that the food what we are taking contains different kinds of nutrients. And you can even see that fibers. So you will be eating sweet potato. So let us take a cooked sweet potato. If you are opening or peeling the peel, you can see that strands like structures are to be appeared outside. So that the fiber like structures itself says that the potato contains fibers. So some of the vegetables and some of the fruits are to be peeled out and some have to be taken like that only. So these fibers are also called as roughages. So let us discuss about roughages. What are these roughages? Roughages are nothing but the dietary fibers. That means the fibers which are present in our food items of different kinds of vegetables as well as fruits. So what kind of vegetables and what kind of fruits does contain roughages? So let us take a fruit like banana. So how do you eat banana? Banana you have to peel it. So after peeling the banana, you can see that fibers like structures are coming out along with the peel. So inside, if you are taking banana, so if you are taking each and every stripe of banana or each and every bite of banana, you can see that the fiber like substances coming out and it tells that they contain fibers. Along with that, vegetables of different types. As if we have discussed that bhendi, that is nothing but lady's finger and drumsticks. So while cooking them, you can see that your mother is taking the peel out while cutting drumstick. So it gives out different kinds of fiber. Along with that, you can state that even a drumstick contains rough edge or the fibers in them. So taking this kind of food, we have already discussed that what does it do to our body? It helps in good digestion and avoids constipation. And finally, the minerals are the functioning of body. So they helps us. So to make ourselves to stay healthy and fit, we have to take almost micro and macronutrients by balancing our diet regularly. Do all of us can make balanced diet regularly? Yes, of course. So we used to have the diet, morning breakfast, afternoon lunch, night dinner. So breakfast must be with a little amount which should satisfy the morning hunger. And coming to the lunch, so which makes our body to get energy to perform our regular duties throughout the evening. So and finally coming to the dinner, where we will eat a less amount of food, so which makes our night to be a proper and pleasant sleep. So that the food which contains a less amount of carbohydrates and more amounts of fiber, so that it avoids our constipation. So like this, if you balance our diet, how can we balance our diet? So we can balance our diet with fruits, vegetables, pulses, nuts, and foremost thing is water. Water plays an important role in our body. So our body contains 70% of water. It helps in retaining moisture to our body. So it helps in digestion, it helps in reducing constipation, it helps in functioning of circulatory system, that is nothing but the blood transportation, and our blood also contains water in a little percent. So this is how the different kinds of nutrients of our body, so our body needs, and we need all these nutrients to make our regular duties perfect manner. So this is how the children we have seen about our food components.